Hello and good morning guys, and welcome back to another episode in the Interchange World Tour. Today we'll be looking at a few interesting junctions I've found throughout my travels in the Google Mapsverse. Today's theme will be level crossings and level junctions that could definitely do with a tunnel or an overpass for traffic flow, but we'll get to that. If this is the kind of nerdy content that you're into, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get building. So, the first thing we'll be building, or interchange or junction or whatever you would call this, is actually in America. It's the first American interchange or junction we're building. It's in a place called Toms River, New Jersey, so you can hear from that it's going to be interesting. Basically, in New Jersey, from my understanding, you never do left turns directly. You always have some kind of a loop or a jug handle turn to do the left turns. It's something we sometimes call this a Spanish turn in Swedish for some reason. I don't know what, but here you can see the actual junction, and a lot of you will recognize it as a cloverleaf interchange. It's just that it doesn't have any overpasses. It's all like, it has this level crossing in the middle with the ridiculous pedestrian crossings that don't lead anywhere as well. Like this is a meme and it's hilarious, but you know what? It works great in Cities Skylines II. I mean, it works great as in we can build it, so that's what we're doing. So I first heard of this interchange actually from a podcast that I listened to called Well, There's Your Problem. It's with Do Not Eat and a few others, but Do Not Eat is also known from Cities Skylines World, and they did an episode on traffic engineering, which I think is really good. I'll link it in the description. It basically trashes all ideas of the traffic engineering profession and stuff like that. Maybe it's a little bit weird for me to just nerd about interchanges and also like somebody trashing the science or the art of it at the same time, but it's if you like if you can get the dark humor about it, I think you really like that podcast actually. Anyway, they introduced me to this interchange a long time ago, and I was fascinated, and I built it in Cities Skylines 1 a long time ago. I built it actually it's actually on the workshop even. I think the problem with Cities Skylines 1 is it never really worked so well. You would really need like a lot of node controller to make it look good. And I think I can make it look good without node controller in CS2 based on like how these connections are made and how the nodes are made. And it's also kind of just so fun that we can remove the crosswalks from these avenues, so we can use the avenues and then just delete all the crosswalks except the ones in the middle that matter the least. So I couldn't resist. Like, this was gonna happen at some point or another. I swear I'll make more functional, proper, I guess, better interchanges, stuff that you might want to use in your own cities at some point. I don't think this one is a good candidate for like, oh, we should build this in our cities for traffic flow or whatever, like, or accessibility or something. But no, this is a meme again. I don't know, guys, let me know like if you prefer like the meme kind of builds rather than the more serious kinds, the more actual practical ones. I have no idea. I haven't been talking about almost anything I've been building, but I've been building these loop ramps, and now I'm downgrading like some of these road segments to be asymmetrical and have less lanes, just to get the lane maths right. It's a little bit technical sometimes, or like a little bit finicky, but you can't really compare it. It's so much easier than CS1 ever was. So I'm using these asymmetrical roads basically to fix that short segment between where the ramps, where the loop ramps connect basically. I'm aligning the yellow line. I'm turning off the snapping and just aligning the yellow line through the whole junction. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad as like if you're thinking about this as like just aesthetic stuff, like nice stuff to look at, art or whatever. But I show, like, in the end I will show a little bit of, like, I guess the problems with traffic that we get, or not in the end, but the cinematics will kind of show how this thing does not really work that well in the game. I guess that goes for the other junctions as well that I'll be building today. The whole, like, sort of ideas of don't build two-dimensional when you should build three-dimensional, maybe. I mean, you could say that the exact same thing. Don't build three-dimensional if you could build two-dimensional, I guess. And I'd imagine this is a lot cheaper. There's no bridges, just pavement, or pavement, just regular roads on the ground. But yeah, I think, like, it really requires a specific sort of setting for this to work. And maybe if you're building, like, maybe if you're trying to recreate a New Jersey inspired city, you could do something like this. Doesn't have to be a full cloverleaf either. I've found several of these similar junctions to this that are basically parklows, but parklows in with a level crossing. And here I'm removing all those crosswalks, the extra crosswalks we don't need, and specifically just keeping the ones in the middle to make it really look exactly like the real life inspiration. Yeah, and that's the first interchange. So the second interchange is a little bit of a return to the last episode where we did cursed roundabouts. This is going to be a roundabout based interchange. Again, I'm sorry, I'm just way too into roundabouts, it seems. This one is from, the main inspiration is from Zaragoza in Spain. Once again, excuse my pronunciation. And they have these quite a lot in Spain. Like, it's basically a roundabout with roads going straight through them. And we don't have them here. For me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But the main idea is that you don't make left turns, or right turns for that matter, on the road going straight through. The road going straight through roundabout is just for passing straight through it. So it has, like, some similarities actually with the Tom's River interchange, the previous one, the one from New Jersey, in, like, sort of the design philosophy anyway. And actually maybe that's why it's called a Spanish turn in Swedish. I don't know, because you're basically doing, it's a different sort of geometry that kind of does the same thing anyway. So yeah, I'm starting to prepare, like in this episode as well, I'm trying to prepare the map a little bit more for future interchanges. So you can see me, like, dragging out this bridge that's going to eventually connect up to some other kind of interchange on the other side of this small body of water. We're getting quite a collection of interchanges now, which is fun. Like, it's going to be very interesting to look at this map at a later stage when it's just filled with weird infrastructure. Doesn't make any sense, but also another interesting thing that happened is the channel recently passed 10,000 subscribers, which is kind of a huge milestone. I haven't commented on it yet, or I haven't actually. I don't really know how to deal with it, to be honest. Like, what do you like? It feels like some kind of celebration would be called for, but I just don't know what to do. There you can see me going into the menu just to measure. I was on my other monitor just measuring how big it is in real life to try to get the same size. It's like 170 something meters in the diameter roughly. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, I'm sorry, got interrupted. What do you guys think? What is a suitable way to celebrate, like, milestones like that? I don't want to be too much of a, like, in my mind I'm not a YouTuber, or like I'm not even a content creator. I just really like to make weird stuff, but I'm starting to realize, I guess, that maybe that's just what being a YouTuber or a content creator is. But it feels like it's gone, I guess, faster than I ever thought it would, and like just the transition into being a person on the internet that creates stuff for a large audience. I don't know. I'm just rambling, but if you have any ideas what you would want to see, like any cool things we could try, like it could be like an interchange, it could be like a special kind of build, it could be a just live stream or something, or I don't know if you want to ask me questions and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like I answer so many questions anyway, but anyway, let me know if you have any specific ideas or thoughts about that. Otherwise, just disregard my rambling and watch this roundabout taking shape. I decided it kind of needs, I mean, the real life has these sort of slip lane ramp thingies, and I decided to add them. I think they are actually a source of this one is probably the worst performing of all the junctions I make. These slip lanes don't really work because we still have a bit of a problem from Cities Skylines 1 where cars won't enter blocked junctions all the time, and some of these junctions are pretty large, so vehicles using the ramps, the slip lane ramps, will actually wait a long time for the vehicle ahead of them to clear the ramp or clear the sort of the junction. And there's too many junctions for that. It's too many cars just get stopped and wait, even though they could just go ahead, like by in real life this wouldn't be a problem, but in the game it sometimes doesn't work. I guess that means that I will have to join the crowd of people who said that TMP is still necessary for this game, and I think it kind of is. So I mean, it's not like cars will enter blocked junctions and sometimes collide with each other and stuff like that. I mean, there's even traffic accidents. We'll see that a little bit in the cinematics as well, but under certain conditions, when you make a specific type of ramp, cars will not enter blocked junctions by default, and that causes some traffic issues, unfortunately. I am really loving the sort of the turn controls you can do, though. We're using it heavily here as well. So, and here I'm also using another trick to just make those turns a little bit smoother. Just dragging another road slightly. Just dragging a road over another road, and it kind of makes some of the nodes a little bit more smoother. I'll probably make a separate tutorial for that, because that's a really useful trick, especially for like tram infrastructure and stuff like that. It's basically the best node controller mod we have right now is built into the base game, though, so that's nice, but it takes a little bit more I guess work and some tricks to figure it out. And I can't quite decide if I want to have like 6 lanes or 4 lanes going through the roundabout itself. I don't even remember what I end up with, but I go back and forth a little bit and look. I'm probably looking at there you can see me. Whenever I press escape, I'm probably just looking at the map and trying to figure out, will this work better? Will it work better if we add like two lanes for the slip lane ramps instead of 1? This one I do revert. I do revert to having like just 1 lane. It becomes much easier. Basically, the amount of lanes coming into a junction decides like which roads get priority as well in Cities Skylines 2. So that's a thing we also would need TMP for, I guess, to be able to set up priority manually. As far as I can tell, most of the time, the smaller road will always get the giveaway markings if you remove all the traffic lights and stop signs. So. But yeah, it's a small thing. We can make it look real, though. We can make it look like the real thing, and that's honestly the biggest thing for me is the fact that we can remove all the obnoxiously excessive crosswalks we would get when building something like this in CS1. That's the biggest deal for me. This is something I was really bugged by in the first game, and And honestly, like even with the mods, we kind of only got partially got rid of it, because like LODs would still show crosswalks when you zoomed out and stuff like that. And so the ability to control crosswalks and also create crosswalks just like anywhere using paths and stuff like that. I think that's a really good thing with one of my favorite things with the new road tools, I guess. And here you can see me just fine-tuning those slip lane ramps using turning off snapping and having them, I don't know, like trying to get them a little bit more snug into the interchange. In some cases I actually upgrade them back, but it's a little bit back and forth until find something I'm really happy with. It would be fun to revisit these interchanges and trying to make, I don't know, trying to upgrade them to have to be multi-level. If that would even work. I don't know. This one would have, I guess, 2. It would be a 3-level roundabout if we did it completely. But yeah, I think that is the Spanish the Zaragoza roundabout. I should also say there's plenty of similar roundabouts around Spain and also around Zaragoza. So it's not really a specific one, but the one I've been looking at the most is in the northern part, just north of the river, north of downtown. So the last interchange we'll be getting into in a little bit is actually kind of this one is a little bit, it's the best performing one so far, so I should say, with the amount of traffic it gets anyway. And it maybe doesn't really fit into this list because I don't know if this would be really make sense to try to make a multi-level interchange out of this one, but this is based from my hometown of Karlskrona in Sweden. I used to live extremely close, like less than 100 meters from this roundabout even, or this junction. And it was always kind of a source for confusion, I think. A lot of people especially who didn't drive here super frequently, would get very confused driving through it. It's definitely an interesting piece of infrastructure, and it's all in one level, and it has a feature which I couldn't resist adding as well, because it's changed, the configuration of it has changed over time. So there's a few unused roads that you can't sort of legally, at least you shouldn't be able to legally access them, if that makes any sense. So based on the fact that one of the roads that goes along the quay actually got turned into a one-way road. So that basically means you can't enter the junction from, I mean, you shouldn't be able to enter the junction from that direction anymore, but the roads are still there. So it's kind of a funny situation, and I wanted to try it in CS2. So yeah, here it is. And also try to get the pedestrian paths in here and see like how we could make that work. It gets a little bit tricky, but I think it works out pretty well in the end. So I'm using mainly the highway roads to create, I guess the base of it for this junction. But I do eventually, I think I might actually have cut that out of recording, but I do upgrade some of the roads entering into streets with sidewalks instead, because they would have been streets in real life. So, and this is like something I would just try for ages in CS1, trying to get those these short segments, these nodes very close to each other. It's really so much easier now is doing stuff like that, and especially since you can like just upgrade and turn off snapping and do almost anything I don't know. This junction sort of really shows the lack of limit sometimes you get with the new road tools, I think. Even though it's a not very spectacular looking junction, it's really a mediocre. It's a pretty mid piece of infrastructure, like, by all means. It's not even that big. It's not even that much traffic and stuff like that. But yeah, I wanted to build something from home though, and I've, like, in CS1, I've been building, like, at least on 2 separate occasions, I've been building, like, recreating my hometown. There's a video of it. If I remember, I'll add it in the description, of me, like, reimagining this town. I don't think this junction got... I think I replaced this junction, like, with a roundabout or something like that, unfortunately. So maybe because it was would have been too hard to make it. I don't know, but... I do believe I have actually some screenshots, though, from a really, really old build when I built my hometown using custom assets and mods, like a lot of custom assets and such. So I might actually, if I remember, I'll try to remember that, because that would be funny to see, actually compare. There's a Simtropolis city journal for this city, I think. And you can see there's some... During the construction, there's some really weird connections between the roads that don't make any sense, or like that are hardly rendered. I'm not using any bypass validation result anarchy or anything like this. This is just vanilla behavior in this game. It really lets you do a lot of weird stuff that shouldn't make sense, that shouldn't really work, but... And... yeah, this is the road that eventually gets updated to a one-way road. So this entry into the junction will not actually... it's not a path. This is a change, by the way, that I saw in real life, or like I experienced coming back after they had changed it, and I got a kind of a shock, because I always remember this road being a two-way road, and somehow it wasn't anymore, and it makes sense. It's sort of this road, you really don't need to go both ways on the road, and it's basically doubled the amount of parking this road can provide. So it would have been pretty good. Like if this would have been when I was still living here, I would have really appreciated that the doubling of the parking. That was always a bit of a pain or a concern for me, I think, when living here. And here I'm just doing the pedestrian paths, trying to connect and get the sidewalks to kind of align with them. It's not going to turn out perfect. I think there's definitely more to wish for when it comes to the pedestrian paths, but I wanted to start trying to showing this anyway, because I don't want this series to be only about, you know, like car infrastructure. I want it to be like transit and paths and bikes as well eventually when we get them. So I want it to be all kinds of infrastructure, really. It like feels unfair to call it the interchange world tour. It should be called like infrastructure world tour eventually. But well, I guess the name is already established now, so I don't know. Maybe I'll try to sneak change it at some point, who knows. We're coming up towards the end of the episode, by the way, so yeah, if you liked this video, please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already and you like to see more stuff like this. Notification bell is good, you don't miss stuff. Join the Discord. You can also set up get a role for being alerted every time I upload videos on Discord, so that's also useful if you want. And I guess, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.